Sorry, I was just trying to figure out. We had a little live stream
Give
on.
everybody a little more time.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I am so happy to introduce to you my dear friend, Marci Hopkins. Some of you may have seen her on her television show that's on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. on We Love New York.
What?
Right?
That's right. Good way to remember it.
WLYY. Yeah, that's how I remember it. But as you know, she's the author of this wonderful book called Chaos to Clarity, in which she really becomes very, very vulnerable with the whole world and being so honest about her journey, that the journey that led her into alcoholism and the surrender that she was able to make to God to come out of it and become the strong, wonderful woman she is today. And I don't want to steal all of her thunder and share the whole journey, but that's what she's going to speak about to us tonight. I know it can be a little bit hard to see that first screen that you see right there, because this is also an eye exam for all of you. No, but you'll see the other screens will be much larger letters and all that stuff. But I would like to let you know that she's going to speak for about 45, 50 minutes, probably around there. Then we'll have about 10 minutes or so for questions. And then she'll also be in the narthex, where she'll sign some books if any of you want a copy of her book, which I just finished reading the other day. Absolutely loved it. There were moments where I was crying for you as a young girl, what you endured, but then so proud and beaming for the woman that you've become. So really, really beautiful book. And also for tonight, I made treats for all of you. I made chocolate chip cookies. I made oatmeal raisin cookies. I even made cupcakes. I think you're going to really enjoy them, okay? Yes, my fingers are crossed now. But anyway, we have some really, really nice snacks there provided by our hospitality group. So, and I know actually some of my friends who are in 12-step programs across the country are watching right now. So for all of you watching from afar, thank you so much for tuning in. I think you're really going to enjoy this night as well. So without further ado, I introduce all of you to Marci Hopkins. Thank you, Marci, for coming.
Thank you all so much for allowing me to be here with you tonight and spending this hour with me. And may we grow together. It is through my experience that I have grown so much and transformed in my life to be able to do what I'm doing today. And that is be an advocate for those in recovery and in mental health, to normalize the conversation and break the stigma and the shame around it. It's a disease. It's something that affects most of us in some capacity in our lives. And because of this transformation, I am about to celebrate 9 years of sobriety on Friday. Thank you. And because of the changes that I've made in my life, the shifts that I've made, God took me towards my purpose. I turned my pain into purpose, and I launched my own talk show, Wake Up with Marci, and that's on WLNY TV, and that's every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. It's all about empowerment and inspiration, telling stories of hope, and I focus on self-improvement and wellness and mental health. And then also writing my book. I was guided to write my book because the intention behind my book is to help others struggling, not only with alcoholism, but also the trauma that they have faced in their lives, changing the way that we think. And that's what I hope that I can help you to do tonight to start on your journey. So when I was 12 years old, I was living with my grandparents because of a number of reasons. And my mother found a man and was going to get married, and I thought that this man was our knight in shining armor. I was finally going to be with my mom. I was going to have a dad. I was going to live this beautiful life. And it was. For about 6 months, it was absolutely amazing. Until the darkness began. And that's when the sexual abuse began. And that's when I lost Marci. my 12-year-old self with all of the dreams and aspirations and love in my heart. I didn't know who I was anymore. I started failing in school. I wanted to leave this earth. I had actually made a pact with a friend, and this was in 8th grade. When I found alcohol, it was an escape. I saw my mother drinking every day. She's an alcoholic. She has since died from her addiction. But she was drinking very heavily, and this is what I saw. This is how I saw to cope. I mean, I remember when I was 8 years old, I would have a stomach ache, and my mother would say, "Here, try my margarita. It helps me go to the bathroom." Or I couldn't sleep at her boyfriend's house. "Here, take half a pill, and it'll help you sleep." And so this is what I learned. These are the behaviors that I learned. So as I got through high school, my drinking was elevating, drinking every weekend, escaping in negative relationships, but it always had to be in a relationship because I was always seeking love and validations from others. And of course, that usually was from a guy, because if I was with a guy, then I was feeling love. And then I started in the workforce. I was very grateful. I actually started to find my path in television. I thought, I got this, right? I built up these walls all around my heart, and I was surviving. I was succeeding, all the while drinking. Every day of my life, I was drinking since the moment I left high school. It's all I knew. And I was pushing down the pain, pushing down the pain, pushing down the pain. Until I no longer could push it down. I was married to a wonderful man, 2 beautiful children, living in this wonderful community. My life looked amazing, while all the while I was crumbling inside, and life was crumbling around me. I could not pretend anymore. And on October 4th, 2015, was the day I surrendered. I could no longer fight the fight. I was losing. So I woke up the next morning after drinking on October 3rd, which was an extremely chaotic day, filled with a lot of bad stories. But the next day, October 4th, I woke up and I was able to surrender and say, I need help. I'd never asked for help before because I always had to do everything on my own. But on this morning, when I'd gone to bed feeling the victim, the next day I woke up and I said to myself, you're an alcoholic, Marci, and you need help. And there was a freedom in that. But then I had to face my husband after what I had done to him, hurting our family by my disease and my pain. I walked downstairs that morning and I sat on the couch. And he sat with me and I held his hands and I apologized. And I said, I have a problem. I need help. I'm an alcoholic. And there's 2 things that he could have done. He could have stayed, held me, and loved me, or he could have left and taken our children and said he couldn't deal with it. But he chose to stay and support me and help me because he saw something in me that I never saw. And when he embraced me, it was the first time that I had felt love, because I always was looking for love, but I really didn't know what it looked like, when all the while it was right in front of me. I had felt like the weight of the world came off my shoulders. I didn't have to live in the lies. I didn't have to live in the pain and the hurt, I could begin my healing journey. And that's exactly what I did that very day. You see, a lot of us may think when we surrender that we are weak. But as you see by this quote by Krishna Das, it is the ultimate act of power to surrender. And I have found surrendering is truly the key to happiness. Finding a peace that I never knew possible. Turning it over to God. Surrendering the power. And when we surrender, we let go of our ego. We let go of perfectionism. I bet there are a lot of people that are sitting in here that know what I'm talking about, trying to be perfect all of the time, saying yes to everybody, trying to get validation all of the time. And in reality, constantly feeling like you're failing because there is no such thing as being perfect. Building trust. I myself, I had no trust. I didn't have trust for myself, and I didn't have trust for anyone that I was with in my life. Except for my children, of course. I loved them dearly, always. And then there was breaking free of the negative patterns, the negative thought processes that we have in our head, the things that we say to ourselves. We're so brutal. And this constant loop goes on. And then, when we can break free from this, oh, is it not working well? Okay. And then when we can surrender, we deepen our faith, our spirituality. We trust in God, and we are able to have patience and move towards a life that we are looking for. A life full of joy and full of happiness. And after I surrendered, I began to find self-love for myself. I didn't have self-love until I was 47 years old. It's a long time, but it was pretty powerful. The first time that I was able to feel that for myself and respect myself in my life. It was so transformational for me, and it was life-changing. And as Lucille Ball says, when you find love for yourself, everything falls into place. And that is the truth. I am living proof. Because when you have self-love, you have self-acceptance. You have self-care. You make that a priority. You also have self-esteem. And you have, self-care, self-awareness, self-acceptance, and self-esteem. I wanted to make sure I said all of them because they're so important. And I'm telling you, once you find love for yourself, life changes. I remember the first time I said that I loved myself. I was sitting in an AA meeting, and for those of you who don't know about an AA or where they're held, you're generally in a church, a room attached to a church. And on this particular day, I was in Hohokus, and each one of the meetings, there's usually, a lot of times, a circular formation of chairs, and there's men and women that are all there for the same purpose, and that is to get sober and live a better life. And on this particular day, there was a reading, and there's always a reading in each meeting, and on this day, it was about self-love. So I raised my hand, and the person leading the meeting called on me. And I said, "Hello, I am Marci. I'm an alcoholic, and today I can actually say that I love myself." But in that vulnerable moment, I felt as if everyone turned and started looking at me and judging me. For one, I'd never said that or ever felt that, but also society teaches us that we are not supposed to put ourselves first. They don't even teach us, society, no one teaches us really how to love ourselves. We are to do for others before we do for ourselves. But we must find love for ourselves to be the best version of ourselves, and then be the best version for others. And then through this transformational journey, I found forgiveness. Forgiveness for myself. I had to forgive myself for the guilt and the shame that I held on, for the bad decisions that I had made in my life. And there are some things that we need to do when we find forgiveness for ourselves. We need to accept our role in each relationship, things that we do, the way that we harm other people. We must accept that, because the only way we can create change is within ourselves. And when we begin to change things about ourselves, others will change. And then we have to acknowledge our mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. Let's be real. And it is a human thing to make mistakes. And then there is self-development. Who are you? Learning about yourself. I had to learn who Marci was again. I had to go within and discover what lit me up, what made me happy. And once I began to do this, I was able to create boundaries for myself. I focused on self-care, putting myself first. You got to put that oxygen mask on first, right? So you can take care of others. And then I found my voice, and I was able to communicate in a much better way with people, responding instead of reacting. And then there is the forgiveness of others. And I know this is hard. People wronged us. I can't believe they did that. And you stay in that pain. You stay stuck in that pain and that anger, that frustration. A lot of times, people will ask me, how did you forgive your mother? She kept you in a place that wasn't safe. She didn't protect you. But I had to step back. And believe me, it took me a long time. But I had to step back, and I had to look at my mother as a human being. What was going on with her? She was an alcoholic. She never had any self-esteem for herself. She always looked to men for validation. I could relate to that. She had me at a very young age. She couldn't even take care of herself. How was she going to take care of me? And I had to forgive her and forgive others that had wronged me in my life, to release the control they had over me. Because when we stay stuck in that anger, in that pain, it is only you that is hurting. And that person, that circumstance, has the power over you until you let it go and you release it. And it's not condoning what that person did. You are not saying what they did was okay. But you gotta let it go. Because you staying in that pain is only you feeling the pain. And then there's gratitude. I love gratitude. It took me a long time to get to a place to live in thankfulness, but it is game changer. So Rhonda Burns, she has a great quote. I don't know if you know Rhonda Burns, but she is the author of The Secret and The Power. And she says that the universe loves a grateful person because a grateful person is a magnet to magic. Imagine you drawing into your life all the desires that you want, that you dream of, and so many more, because God has a bigger plan for you. But you must have a grateful heart. You cannot stay stuck in that negativity. And there are ways to move towards gratitude. It's a daily practice. It is one that I have done for the last 9 years. I don't stop doing any of these practices because I continuously evolve, and that's what healing is. So I'd love to make some suggestions for you. Maybe you could try it out in your life. But each morning when you wake up, before you get out of bed, look at your phone, turn on the news, just jump into the worry of the day or the negativity. Look around. Think about the things that you are grateful for. Think about the things that you were grateful for the day before. Maybe it's just having a new day to start over. Maybe it's just a new possibility for a new start. And you're in a bed, you've got a roof over your head, you've got sheets, you've got a pillow, and you've got that cup of coffee waiting for you. So you've got a lot of things. You've got to find the small things. And once you begin this practice, I promise you it's going to get easier and easier. And you are going to find that you are not going to stay in the negativity. You will become more solution-based in life. You will see the good in even the difficult things that happen in your life. So after you think about these things, write them down. Write them down in a journal. Write them down on the notes in your phone. I had a little gratitude box, and I would just rip little pieces of paper and I would write down the things that I was grateful for, the things that I had thought about that day. And then when life happens, life gets difficult, because it's going to. Obstacles are going to happen in our life. You go back and you read these things that you're grateful for, and you literally shift the way that you feel. You remember. And our body is truly amazing, because at this time, we release dopamine and serotonin naturally, which takes us to a place of happiness. Naturally. So now I want to talk about self-care and inviting you to turn yourself over. Today, you are here for a reason. So I hope that you will listen to the next steps that I share with you to start change in your life. Self-care, putting yourself first, so vital. Turning yourself over to God, becoming the best version of yourself for you and then those in your life. And how about not going to others for validation? Being proud of yourself. Looking at yourself and saying, look at what I do. Look at what I've done each day, how I've changed a life, how I give back to others. Look how I am in my family or my community. Look at the things that you do every single day. You are making a change and helping others every day. Celebrate those things for yourself. You deserve the love for yourself, not just from others. And when you surrender and you let these things go, you are able to go with the flow of life. Things become easier for you. If you are fighting every single day, as if you're going up a mountain and you're constantly falling down, maybe you're climbing the wrong mountain. Stop fighting for something that is maybe not meant for you. And when you begin to do the things that you are meant to do, they are easy. They are going with the flow. You let go of doubt and worry and fear. I mean, how many times have we not moved forward because of fear? We live in this fear. But that's because we haven't surrendered. We don't have true faith that everything is working out in our favor. When you truly surrender, you have faith and you move through the fear. You have self-confidence. You believe in yourself. I have fear all of the time. I used to not even be able to talk in a conference room. And look at me today. It's incredible how this transformation in your life, the work, changes your life. Now, worrying, that's normal. It is part of life. We're human. But so much of our worry is about the future we can't control and staying stuck in our past. We must move from our past. We can't change anything from our past. These things get stuck inside of our bodies. We keep reliving them over and over and feeling the emotion of what happened over and over. And we've got to move past that. Today is what is important. Not yesterday, not 10 years ago, not 30 years ago or more. Today is your opportunity to move forward and make the change and let go of that past. You see, it stays in us at a cellular level. I just want to tell a little story about this because I'm wearing a watch. It's a beautiful watch. It's a Cartier. I was 13 years old when I got it. My stepfather bought it for me when I was in Hong Kong. A gift. But you see, I couldn't wear this watch for a very, very long time because of the memories associated with it. But today, I can look at it as a beautiful watch. And I don't have to hold on to what was going on in my life at that time anymore. That has no more control over me. And I get to wear my beautiful watch with pride. And that's my choice. I get to make that choice today. So, is it time for you to surrender? Turn yourself over to God. If you're here, I know you want to surrender. Surrender to God's plan. When we continue to try to control our lives, we are not going in the direction of God's plan for us. Because if you were living in God's plan, you would be living in happiness, joy, and contentment. So, I like this exercise. Envision yourself in a car. You're holding on to the wheel. I used to hold on really tight to that wheel. But envision yourself letting go of the wheel. Release that control. And we do this through prayer and meditation. So now I have some fun things. We're going to do some exercises. Does anyone meditate? Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's lots of ways you can meditate. A lot of times we think we have to sit on a mat and we have to have, whatever it is around us to put us in that space. But we don't. Meditation can happen when we walk. We can have guided meditations through YouTube. There's different apps that have meditations that we can listen to. And it really helps. It can help calm our nervous system, heal from inner child work, help us to sleep, help us in depression or anxiety. There's so many ways. If you have something going on, if you want to connect with God, because that's one of the meditations I do every single morning. It's a beautiful 10-minute meditation on YouTube. There's so many ways that we can meditate. It's not about just sitting and being silent and thinking that I'm doing this wrong and you're judging yourself. So I just want to take you through meditating and something maybe you could try to start doing maybe 5 minutes a day. And this one that I'm going to take you through is about connecting to yourself. So if you will, I'd like to invite you all to please close your eyes. Relax, let go, let the shoulders go. Take a deep breath in, breathe out, and listen to a noise within the church. You can find a noise like a hum, and you just listen to that hum. And you can ask yourself, who am I? What do I want? What is my purpose? What am I grateful for? And it's in that silence that the answers will come to you. It may not be right away, but through this daily practice, you will start hearing those lessons. You will start hearing those answers. The second part to turning this over is not focusing on the negativity in your life, but focus on the things that are thriving. There are many things in your life. Start looking at the things that are working out. And I want you to realize that obstacles in life are not bad. I want to invite you to start thinking of those as stepping stones, learning opportunities. These are things that we must go through to learn the biggest lessons to move towards the things that we want in this life. And ask for a sign. Ask God for a sign, for direction, and open your eyes to them. For me, it's dragonflies. If you see, I have a dragonfly here, I have a dragonfly on my book. When I moved to a new house, it was a year into my sobriety, I was sitting by the pool, and there was a dragonfly that was dipping his head in the water and made me aware, and I looked up, and there were hundreds of dragonflies representing transformation, which was exactly what was going on for me. And I knew in that moment that God was with me, my angels were with me. And now I see them everywhere. And then once you think you've surrendered, keep surrendering. This is a practice you must continue. I just wanted to put in the scale here so you could see. I don't know if you've heard about energy. We're all made of energy. And what we put out is what we attract. And I used to live in shame, guilt, grief, fear. And you see that suffering. And then there's getting by, pride, courage, neutrality, willingness, and you keep going up, and then you're going with the flow, and that's living in love, joy, peace. That's when you ultimately, energetically, through God, are attracting what you want in this life. So I have one more exercise. Well, actually I have two more. Are we doing okay on time? Okay. So again, if you'll please close your eyes, because everything is about going within. So each one of these practices, I will ask you to close your eyes. I want you to envision yourself writing some things that are troubling you right now. Envision yourself writing them down. Then I want you to picture God as a cloud. And I want you to hand over those problems to him. Transfer your worries, the stories you're telling yourself, the fear, over to God, and see this happening for yourself. Another way for us to change the way that we think about ourselves are affirmations. Is anyone familiar with affirmations? Changing the way that you talk to yourself, right? So if you're saying negative things to yourself, you change those into a positive. And these are things that you would need to say to yourself daily, because how long have you been saying these negative things to yourself? I used to tell myself I was stupid all of the time, that I had nothing to offer except for what was on the outside of me. I literally thought I had nothing to offer to anyone. And today, I know that's different. So when you think you are weak, you are strong. When you are afraid, think about the joy in your life. When you say fear drives me, change that to love drives me. And these are things that you need to do daily to change that narrative in your head. And I also recommend putting Post-its up around so you can see these reminders every single day. Put them on your mirror, put them in your closet, wherever, so you can be reminded of the affirmations that you need to hear. I am. Write down 3 of those to remind yourself every day. You may not believe them in the beginning, but slowly you will begin to feel the emotion behind it and believe it. Now I'm going to do a quick breathing exercise with you, and this is also about releasing any pain, any troubles that you have. So I'd love for you to hold your middle finger to your thumb, if you can do this with both hands. And close your eyes. Feel the blood pumping. Feel the energy within your fingers. And breathe in. And think to yourself, feel the surrender of trying to control everything around you. Feel the warmth in your body. And breathe out. So when you breathe in through your nose. Hold it. And breathe out through your mouth. Take a breath in. Now think about the gift of breath. This is something you do not control. It's something that's given to us for free, that keeps us alive every day. Now breathe out. Breathe in. Now imagine a life that you are not controlling and the gifts that it will bring you. What do you want out of this life? Breathe out. Breathe in. Imagine loving yourself fully and thinking of your needs instead of controlling what you think everyone else needs. Now breathe out. Open your eyes. Does everyone feel a little more relaxed? A little calm? I hope there are some things that have come to you today. I just want to say that it took me several years to get to a place to write my book, But I'm so grateful I did, because I wanted to share all of the ways that I got through recovery, all the ways I got through trauma, what I learned in AA, the tools and the resources I learned, so I could create the life that I live today. I have a beautiful, beautiful marriage to my husband, which I'm so thankful for. I have 2 wonderful children. They're 18 and 21 now. I have a career and a path in life that I never thought I would have, but I had to do these things to create the change, and I still continue to evolve every day. And I have truly healed my mind, my body, and my spirit. So I just wanted to say that I want each of us to remember that everything we need comes from within. The love that we are looking for, the acceptance we are looking for, the connection to God that we are looking for is within. And that's where we find the quiet and the meditation, and we hear what we need to hear. We must fully have faith and release the control. Remember, when we have real faith, we don't worry. So, each one of you have a path. God has a beautiful life waiting for each one of you, and if you're not living it today, I encourage you, start the path today, because you will be living a life beyond your expectations if you begin to forgive yourself, others, live in gratitude, surrender to God, find love for yourself, and start on this journey. So thank you guys so much for allowing me to spend this evening with you. And I just wanted to say that I have QR codes. So on your phone, if you go to photo, you can connect to me on Instagram or Facebook, wherever it is that you're more comfortable with. And I'm going to be outside selling my books, and hopefully I can sign a book if you're interested, or if there's anything you want to talk with me about. I'd be grateful to talk with you too, if there's anything that I can share more about. And also just spend a little time, maybe take a picture and have some treats. So thank you again for tonight and allowing me to be here.
Thank you, Marci. Thank you so, so much. We thought we'd have just an opportunity to take maybe 2 or 3 questions if anyone had any questions. If not, all of the treats are out there and the books are there and all that other stuff. I do want to thank Ray for being here and being such a loving, caring presence that you mentioned at the beginning. But any questions? We got one? Andrew?
Did your mother ever find out that your stepfather was abusing you? And if so, how did that affect your relationship with her?
Yes, I did share with my mother twice that the abuse was happening, and she did not leave. And that was extremely hurtful. It took me, like I said, till my adult years to find forgiveness for her. But all I ever wanted in my life was for my mom to love me and to protect me. And I held on to that hope my entire life until she died 4 years ago from her own addiction. My mom was weak. I believe that she didn't leave because she didn't know what to do. She didn't know how to take care of herself. And I think she was so afraid to let her parents down again. Because there's more to my story that I share. And I just think that my mother lived in complete fear and victim mode, and she didn't know what to do. Any more questions? Yes. Yeah. So when I say I see angels, it's signs from the other side. So if you see in my book there, it's chaos to clarity, seeing the signs and breaking the cycle. So seeing the signs from the other side. So through this journey, I have so many beautiful, beautiful stories of seeing signs. And that could be a white feather that shows up in a place that it shouldn't be. Or dragonflies showing up for no particular reason, hundreds of them. When I made amends to my husband, we walked outside and there were thousands of ladybugs. So things that are unexplainable, but beautiful. And I know that it's God on the other side and my angels showing me that they are with me. And I believe they're with me every minute of every day, guiding me. We just have to ask them to show themselves. We have to invite them into our lives. Thank you. So for me, I always believed in God. I was brought up Protestant. I converted to Catholicism when my husband and I got married. And, but I didn't, even though I went to church, I wasn't connected necessarily. I was just going through the motions. I loved God. I believed in God. But today, I feel truly guided by God, and I don't have any fear or worry anymore because I truly know that everything is working out for me because God has a divine plan for me, and I trust that. And before I didn't. I do. I have actually a beautiful story that I share in my book. When I started at AA, like I said, these meetings were in churches, and my home meeting was in Hohokus. And I would go into the church after the meeting, and there was a small picture of a lamb that was at the front of the church. And I would pray to that lamb, and I would say, God, Jesus, if you help me through this, I will always follow you. You are my shepherd, and I will always speak your voice, your word, and follow you in everything that I do. And I would envision Jesus holding me and keeping me safe. And I know Father Stephen, and this is always talked about, God is just waiting for us to ask. Jesus is just waiting for us to ask. For him to save us, to come into our heart, allow us to open our heart to love and his ultimate guidance. I asked, he heard me, and that's what he did. And it's been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Marci. And if you want to see Marci, she'll be right at the table right there, signing books if you want to get them. And I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. As I've said to Marci before, and I have so many of my really dear friends who are recovering alcoholics in different programs, different addictions. And I always find the people that really hit that bottom and reach out to God are some of the most incredible people and inspiring people I know. So Marci, thank you for being so brave and so wonderful and sharing all of your gifts with us. And I really hope many of you will buy her book and really get the chance to read it because there's so much more. She just gave us like the tip of the iceberg. So thanks again, Marci. Thank you so much. Come on in. And don't forget all the cookies I made for you. Come on. Fill your pockets with these cookies.